I just want to pop in here. I actually am gonna get a chance to hang out tonight with one of my favorite people. I think he's one of the greatest rappers alive. His name is D1, and D's gonna come into our chat in a little bit. And I thought that today would be a good time to have a conversation about hip hop and music and the things that influence us and influence our people and influence our kids. That's been heavy on my mind this week because, as you know, you guys know I've been pretty vocal about Hunter Biden and this whole thing with him being just the big old crackhead and all the black men that got locked up over crack, all the black, and then the wealth piece, the wealth piece that a lot of people don't talk about, which is that probably I'm going to guess $1 trillion in black wealth was destroyed because they were repossessing assets of black people. They were destroying families of black people. They were doing all these crazy things. So I don't want you guys to forget this. But in order to keep the conversation somewhat positive, I'm going to go ahead and bring D1 in right now. So D, I see you, brother. So let me hit this button. Let's see here. Add as moderator, go live. Here we go. There we go. So coming in a minute. Fresh out of Atlanta, via New Orleans, or New Orleans via Atlanta. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good to see you again.
Likewise, man. It was great to see you this past weekend in my city in New Orleans. That was excellent, bro. You got some well-deserved flowers from our brother Julian, man. So I just wanted to tell you that, face to face, man. You deserve all that.
Oh man, thank you, brother. Same to you, man. You did a great job as host.
Thank you. Thank you. I just try to let my spirit shine through on that microphone and allow everyone to feel that joy I have on the inside of me. So yeah, had a good time, bro. So you said you wanted me on to keep this conversation somewhat positive. Huh?
Right. Because you know me, so I just get in there, man, and it's there's just some stuff that just frustrates me so much in terms of just what's happening to our people that we don't even know that is happening. It's like the way you and I became friends. I don't know if people may not know this, but you and I became friends because I saw that video you did called Jay Weezy and 50, and it got like probably millions of views, and I remember thinking, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but he's got it. He understands what we've been talking about. The way you kind of challenge artists to understand their power and their influence over other people. And I guess maybe we can start right there, man. Tell us about just what your mindset was, because you have an ability to really address and confront issues in an honest way. But you do it in a way that doesn't, like, I end up making people mad. I'll alienate some people, but you do it in a way that I think is a lot smoother, and I actually respect that. So tell us about that Jay Weezy 50 and just that whole mindset behind that.
Sure. So that was me starting my career off. I was a middle school teacher in Louisiana at the time. I was teaching math, actually, and I had aspirations to be a rapper, and I was local, so I didn't really know how I would break onto the national scene. So I said, wow, 50 Cent made a song called How to Rob, where he was calling out a bunch of rappers in the industry. This one, 50 Cent was trying to get on and make a name, and he made a fictional song where he would be robbing all of the well-known rappers and talking about how he was going to stick them up and take their jewels and their jewelry from them. And I said, what if I made my version of How to Rob, but instead of How to Rob, if I was calling brothers out and holding them, like giving them their flowers for being great, but holding them to a higher standard of accountability, to where people like the students that I teach every day could truly have something more positive and powerful to look up to. So I did the song calling these brothers out. And I think that as long as you have accountability that stems and is rooted from a place of love, I think that usually shines through. So I took a chance and I did a song calling three of the giants in hip hop out and challenging them to do better and be more intentional with how they use their words and how they use their platform to influence our community. And that song could have either like totally derailed my career before it even started, or it could have cracked the door open for me. And the song got viral, the video went viral, it got the attentions of millions of people. And here I am, what was that? 13, that was about 12 years ago. Here I am, and I've been going ever since. So it definitely was the right decision for me to do it, because I think my heart was in the right place. I wasn't just trying to take cheap shots at them and diss them,
Mm. Well, you know, I like that, man. I like that when you talk about leading with love, you know, I think that does, and even learn that over time, like love and empathy. Just like, okay, I get where you coming from. I'm gonna, in fact, I'm gonna repeat it back to you where you're coming from and let you know I get it. But now I'm gonna tell you where I'm coming from, and I agree. It does make people more receptive to the message, and I think that with Jay Weezy 50, what's interesting is that, you know, here we are, as you said, 12 years later. Jay, Weezy, and 50 are still very relevant. You know, Jay-Z is the king of entertainment. He's really positioned himself in that way. Weezy's still out there. He can still jump on anybody's verse. People will love him. 50 Cent has moved on and done bigger and better things. You know, so that influence is still there. And I think, you know, what's interesting to me is just speaking on just on that hip hop tip. You know, I've watched you kind of take on some of those challenges in certain ways where it's like, you know, I've seen where you still gotten pushback. Like I remember when you did that album where you took Lil Wayne's album and you flipped it, basically took the same beats and did the same thing, which I think is a big deal, right? Because you're in New Orleans, like you right there, you're 1 degree or 0 degrees of separation from all these people. So it's not like somebody doing this in California, you know, and they blocked the album, like they people went out of their way to make sure you didn't release it. Can you kind of talk about that, man? I like, you know, because I know the story, but I think people should really hear about that.
Yeah, so this album was inspired by you. You did an interview on Vlad TV, and you mentioned my name, and you told Vlad how D1 is an artist that's from New Orleans, from the streets, just like Lil Wayne, but just chose to take a different path in life in terms of how I use my platform with being a hip hop artist and choosing to, you know, to take a more responsible approach, but same type of lyricism, same type of charisma, same type of swagger, but just went down a different path. And with that being said, that inspired me to say, man, I'm gonna do an album called Separated at Birth, to where it's basically saying me and Lil Wayne are like brothers, and we just went down different branches of the family tree. And you were on the intro. That interview, I took a snippet from that interview and put a Lil Wayne beat behind it, and that was the intro. And I did a whole project. It was 11 songs, and it was taking Lil Wayne beats and whatever he rapped about on the beat, I flipped it and did a 180, and I did a total 180-degree shift, and I rapped about something equally as potent, equally as powerful, but just a more thought-provoking, conscious version of what Lil Wayne was glorifying on his song. At the time, I was signed to a major record label, signed to RCA Records, and the night before the album came out, they blocked it. They called my phone, and they made threats. You know, they made threats that if I put this project out the next day, that they would put me on the shelf. They wouldn't promote any of my music anymore. And this was confusing to me, because I said, I sent y'all this project 3 weeks ago to listen to it, because this isn't a surprise that I'm dropping this. I've been telling y'all about it. I spent my whole summer working on this project, and they said they had gotten a call from Lil Wayne's record label, and Wayne's record label basically threatened them and was saying, hey, if this project is dissing Lil Wayne, the whole project, and if it's making Lil Wayne look bad or anything like that, you know, there might be some repercussions to that. And they kind of kept it vague. So I was like, are they making threats against me physically? Are they threatening to sue me or something? Lil Wayne made his fame even bigger by rapping on other people's beats. So it's not like they could get mad at me rapping on his beats. So I was like, what's going on? And my record label, they just said, listen, don't worry about what's going on. Just know that you better not put that album out or that mixtape out. It was a mixtape. You better not put that mixtape out tomorrow. And I had to make a decision. And that was 2015. So that was 7 years ago. And I decided not to put it out because at the time I wasn't afraid of Lil Wayne or his record label or anything that could happen, but I was not trying to alienate my record label that I was signed to, because we're supposed to be teammates. And ultimately, man, we have a short time here on this earth, and being in this culture, you know, we don't even know what the culture is anymore. We call everything the culture, but me knowing that I'm in the culture somewhere, I just want to do something with my time here on earth and on the microphone and in the culture to where people say that brother was seeking to raise the bar of what we you know, what we know as the culture. That brother was seeking to raise the level, the state of consciousness that exists and the standard to which we hold ourselves as Black people, because we can't have a victim mentality forever and say, you know, this is the problem. It's these record labels that are forcing this and forcing that. I've seen at this point that the record labels, they are just concerned with what's going to make money. So if the fans and the artists got together and said, hey, as fans, we're not going to support the music that's glorifying drug dealing and killing. We're going to support the music that is more edifying to our community. We want to support the D1s of the world, the other people who are putting an explicitly positive yet dope, you know, message in their music, because it can't just be positive and corny. It has to be dope. If the fans did that and put their money where their mouth is and put their streaming support and their downloading support where their mouth is, and if the artists said, we're not going to continue to profit off of killing each other, you know, we got to start healing each other instead of killing each other in our music. We got to stop selling each other death and lining up to pay for it. You know, if the artist said, we're going to stop doing that and we're going to go ahead on and make music that is real, righteous, and relevant, you know, honest to ourselves, but ultimately something that we know is going to reach ears that are young and impressionable. So we want to be careful that we're saying something that's not going to lead them down the wrong direction in life. If we truly wanted to do that, we have the power to do it. And I can't influence every artist to want to be more honest in their music or be more responsible with their content. But what I can do is become a success story to where now when I'm sitting next to an artist and I can say, man, look how much money I make, bro. Like, look how well I'm doing, bro. Look at the peace that I live with. Like, I know all of these things are appealing to you. Like, look at me. I'm sitting here. I'm loved by the community. I'm sitting here traveling all around the world, but I have peace. I have prosperity. I have power. All of the P's that these artists want. It's like, I've wanted to be a success story that they can look at and say, man, you're not preaching at me, D. You are proving it to me through your actual worth, your self-worth, your net worth, all of this type of stuff. So that's been the mission that I've been on ever since then, because once I realized that the record label didn't have my best interests at heart, they were concerned about their profits. I said, well, for me, you know, I have to start thinking with a different mindset. And that mindset has started to revolve around going direct to consumer. So I got out of my record deal. I wanted to be independent. I didn't want there to be any barriers between me and the people that I serve, because I work for the people ultimately. And so that's what I do. And I think the fans, that's also who I'm seeking to enlighten and empower, because like, we are nothing if the fans are going to continue to say, hey, we're going to clap behind closed doors for the D1s of the world, but we're going to put our dollars behind all the poison that is polluting our community. So I'm tired of those behind closed doors claps. Meanwhile, the other people, you know, who are poisoning and polluting the community, they're getting the paper from the fans, and they're getting the attention, and they're getting the hearts of the fans. And it's like, nah, man, I feel like I want to empower the fans to know that, like, you hold just as much power as the artists who you complaining about.
Well, you know, the points you make are good ones, man. And I think one thought that goes through my mind when you talk about that whole incident with the Lil Wayne thing, it's funny because you and I both kind of had our interesting Lil Wayne stories. I'm sure you got more than me, because you know you've been everywhere. But I had this crazy thing back with him and Tyler the Creator with the Mountain Dew deal. Did I ever tell you about that?
I know about the Tyler side, but what did Lil Wayne's involvement?
Well, they basically, remember Lil Wayne had made that lyric about Emmett Till, and basically saying, if I have sex with a girl, her vagina is gonna look like Emmett Till's face. And I had gotten a call from Jesse Jackson and Emmett Till's family, and they asked me to say something about it, and I did. And they pretty much ignored us like we expected. And then later on, though, when they found out that Mountain Dew was sponsoring his world tour, I think he was actually going on tour with T.I., who's one of my favorite artists. I think he's one of the most talented artists ever. I put him right there with Tupac and everything. I think he's that good. And so we basically strategically said, well, we're not going to go to you. We're going to go to your economic daddy, because really at the end of the day, all this is economic warfare. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, I'm not talking to Lil Wayne no more because he's not going to listen to me. I'm talk to who's paying the bills.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Mountain Dew. I wrote an article about it, and it was now what happened though was Tyler the Creator. I didn't even know who he was. I wasn't trying to go at him. None of that. He's still mad at me about that whole thing. He's every now and then he'll pop up and he'll say something. Dr. Boyce Watkins is this and that and the other or whatever. Even though he was on the Kanye West track, and at the end he just randomly blurts out, "Dr. Boyce Watkins is a bitch," which
Really?
which is the funniest thing ever. Yeah, I'm like, well, if my kids are like, why are you on a Tyler the Creator song? And I'm like, I don't dislike the guy. I think he's talented. But that's not my thing, But so what? The reason Tyler got spun into it was basically they had done this commercial. I didn't know who did it. I didn't know Tyler had done it, but it was a Mountain Dew commercial, and it was really racist, man. It was like it had a white lady who had been like raped or beaten or whatever, and there was 5 black dudes in a police lineup. And there was a goat in the middle, and that was the whole funny thing was like that they had this goat for the Mountain Dew thing, and the goat was basically he was clearly black, and he was like, "I'm nasty, I'm gonna do it to you again," and the lady's like, "Ah," and she's sitting there with this white police officer like, "Oh my God, these black men are gonna kill me." She didn't say that, but that was the action, right? So I wrote an article about it. And I said, this is racist. Like you're portraying the black man as a criminal. The white lady's the innocent victim that's going to be attacked by these black men. This is nonsense. But again, strategically, it was like, okay, let's get Mountain Dew's attention and point out, the clear problems with this ad. So so what happened was the article went viral, man. Like by the next morning, it had been read by 500,000 people. It was being covered by all the media outlets around the world. And Mountain Dew was kind of like, well, what's going on here? So what I actually did was I went in and I changed some of the words in the article. It was a blog post. So blog posts, you can change it. So I threw in some other stuff. And I said, Mountain Dew may also want to pay attention to an artist that they're sponsoring, Lil Wayne, because remember, he was wearing the Mountain Dew hats and Mountain Dew shirts and all that. And I didn't want it to come to this, man. But it's like you disrespected the whole community, man. I got to check you on that. I got to, I see everything as economic warfare. I see everything as power. So I believe that a lot of artists don't respond to black people because they don't believe we have any power compared to the people who pay the bills. Right. So basically, I was like, okay, so let me give y'all. I'm not even gonna tell you what I think about him or the Emmett Till verse, but let me just write. I wrote some of the lyrics in there, man. And if you know his music, man, there's some lyrics that would like shock white people. Like you put that in front of an old white man who's sitting in a corporate executive office, who's already wondering why the company's brand is being, criticized so heavily. And so you wrote, I think I took a verse where he said something like, "I'll take your girl, excuse my French, but it's like, I'll make her nut for me, then slut for me, and then rob for me and kill for me. And of course it'll be your cash. And then I'll murder that bitch and send her body back to your ass." Right. And I just put it in there. And I said, look, is this what you want attached to your brand? And so Mountain Dew, and what we knew we had cracked the armor was I noticed that, like, first they issued a formal apology. It was like one of these well-written apologies. It looked like it'd been written by somebody at Harvard, Like, well, sometimes as an artist, you have creative expression. They sometimes goes over the line, and we sincerely apologize. Well, right? And I said, he didn't. This ain't his apology. This is somebody else that wrote this. Mm-hmm. And so we kept the heat going, man. And then eventually he apologized on stage. When people start apologizing multiple times, that's a sign that somebody is behind the scenes putting money on the line. It's all economics, man. It's all money, right? So I said, I think we chinking the armor. They apologizing a lot. And then they apologized a third time where there was a written apology written in his language. You know what I mean? And I said, okay, I think somebody's over a little bit nervous. So eventually what happened was Mountain Dew canceled the tour. And here was the thing. I did not want it to come to that. I did not want to do that, because what it comes off as is you're messing up a black man's money. But here's the problem. I think with our community, we got to set standards. We got to say all money ain't good money. You can make your money. Go get your bread. Do your thing. Conquer the world. But don't be disrespecting your people while you're doing it. We matter the most. We are top priority. Not all these people, you exporting your music to the world. You go to some of these concerts, it'll be a guy on stage calling himself a nigga in front of 100,000 people that ain't even black. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah. You can do what you want, but just understand our people are sacred. invoking Emmett Till's name in your verse, that's sacred to us. So we get the same respect as everybody else. So just to finish that, Tyler, the Creator, was upset because what they did do was exactly what racism does. Their whole reproach was, we got to fix this. So they fired both of them. They fired Tyler and Wayne, and were like, we're cutting both of their deals. And so Tyler's all mad at me, and Tyler's going out. I mean, he went out. He was on a social media campaign. Suddenly, I had all these people coming to my Twitter like what's wrong with you? You a hater? You da da da. And I'm like, where are these people coming from? And it was basically because Tyler was really speaking on it. He did an interview with Billboard saying this professor's out here. He's messing up, my opportunities as a young black man. And I just told him. So what happened was, I got to the point. One thing I don't do is I don't beef on the internet. I'm not going to argue with black. I think it looks immature. It's silly. It makes us look stupid. Second thing I'm not going to do is I said it clearly. I said, Tyler, you're young enough to be my son. I'm not going to beef with you. That we're not peers. I'm the OG. I'm going to be the hater right now because that's what an OG does. You're supposed to hate a little bit to say, come on, man, this is too much. I said, now, if you want to call me personally, I will talk to you. And I will explain exactly what's going on. I will support you in every way that I can, but I'm not going to beat back and forth with you because really at the end of the day, we're not equals. You think that you're superior because these white folks don't put you on a pedestal and gave you a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I've been in this game. I've been in it for the community since before you were even born. So you're going to put some respect on my name. Like, you're not going to talk to me like I'm just a nobody, because in my space, I'm not a nobody. I am a somebody. And you have to behave accordingly when it comes to showing respect to your community. You can't be out here doing any ridiculous thing just so you can go make $1. You can make your money without disrespecting your own people. And so to this day, I stand on that. And, Tyler's still mad about it. And I'm sorry that he lost his money. But that's the other thing too, man, with racism. What they did to me was they did exactly what the police do. Like, if the police show up and they know one black man committed a crime, they're not going to sort out and figure out who did what. They're going to lock everybody up. They're taking everybody to jail. And that's how I saw that. And so to me, it says these people are not really your friends. They're using you because they know you have cultural influence and they can sell more bottles of Mountain Dew. But at the end of the day, man, these people don't care about you. And really, and it was funny, man, when he was doing a lot of ranting about it, I said, I bet he doesn't have a father. Because what he's doing is he's responding adversely to male authority. He's not used to that. And I heard him on a verse. I started listening to his music more because I really wanted to understand, him a little bit better. And on one of the verses, he expressed how sad he was that he didn't have his father. And that also, to me, reflects like one of the challenges we have in the black community, where there's not that we just don't have that respect for our people or respect for like the elders in the community. Because what happens is that when you give like a 20-year-old a bunch of money, he thinks, okay, I've elevated above all the black people. And I think for us as people, I'm gonna say this and I'm done, but I think for us as black people, we have to understand that makes it into a power game. We got to make it clear, like we're here and we're gonna fight to defend our territory. I don't care how much money they give you. So I think that was what made me respect you so much. And I said, okay, this guy's a fighter. He's a one-man army. You know that, right? And he's out here fighting that same battle, man. So I have a lot of respect for that.
Thank you. Somebody said it's okay to disagree with people, but you're not supposed to mess with a man's money. And whoever said that in the comments, I think that's actually part of the problem, my brother. The false notion that all money is good. Hey, I don't care what you're doing, but as long as you're getting your money, black brother, I'm supporting that. We have to love one another enough to actually correct one another and say, before me caring about you getting money, I care about our community as a whole. And the thing that's going to heal our community is going to be love, and it's going to be finances. But if you don't have the love, you have the finances, and you'll further set our community back, just like institutional racism has done for the longest. You can have money, but if you got the wrong mindset with the money, our community isn't going to advance at all, man. So that's the point that I've come to in life. And also for everyone on here who's watching this, one of the beautiful things that I love about Boyce's platform is just because you're for the community doesn't mean that you have to take a vow to be in poverty forever. It's possible to have ethics and to have morals, values, and principles, but still, have money and be paid and be financially fit. So that's that's somebody say I just downloaded your residual joint, bro. Thank you. That's a song I just put out on my most recent album. I performed it this weekend. Boyce
Yep.
performed it, song called Residual, and the power to empower other people to understand how we can make our money work for us. Like literally, those dead presidents on those dollar bills, you know, they're supposed to be working for us. You know, many of them owned slaves back when they were alive, you know, but now we need to make them our slaves and have them working for us. So when we start to adopt that mindset, we realize that life is definitely temporary. So the music that I make, for example, regardless of how much money I make from any given piece of music that I create, that music is going to outlive me. So that music is going to live forever. And that's why I'm so careful about what I represent and what I'm perpetuating, you know, with the platform that I have. That alone equips me to come into this game and know my purpose. And because I know my purpose, upon entering this game, there's certain things that I just won't do. And I don't have to look back years later and be like, you know how many rappers are in their 40s now and they looking back and they saying, man, I feel so bad what I did to my community in my 20s and my 30s, because I've grown from that now and I'm trying to make a change now. But they know good and well that there's brothers that are locked up, there's families that are broken, and there's probably even people that's in the grave right now. And the lyrics and the lifestyle that they continue to perpetuate in their music, not to say it made anyone pull that trigger or it made anyone, you know, have to commit these acts that harm their lives, but it definitely didn't deter them from doing it, you know. So music is simply a soundtrack to a lifestyle. And if you have enough talent to make music that encourages someone to want to go and do something negative, then you got that same talent to be able to make music that'll pull someone away from doing something negative and encourage them to go and do something, you know, positive with their life. So,
Man, you make a good point about that. Like, music is so spiritual. It really is spiritual, man. It'll get you on certain frequencies. You know, like you listen to a love song, you on a love frequency. You listen to some hardcore gangster stuff, you on an aggressive frequency. You know what I mean? And everything in between. And one of the things that I think is interesting, man, I talk to my wife a lot. And by the way, my wife is doing that. I want everybody to know D1 is co-hosting a speed dating thing with my wife in Atlanta on July 22nd. So join us at the Black House. You can go to boyceandalicia.com if you guys want to join, boyceandalicia.com. But you know, one thing that Alicia talks about is the subconscious mind. Like she's read tons of books on it, right? And I said to her, I said, what are the 3 things that will hypnotize a black person, like really sink into the subconscious and get them like programmed? And she said 3 things: repetition, trauma, and symbolism. So let's think about that, right? Repetition. Music is about the most repetitive thing that there is. It's the same beat, you know, I'm in love with the cocoa. I'm in love with the cocoa. You know what I mean? And you just saying it over and over again, right? So repetition is there with music, which makes it seep deeper into your subconscious. 2, trauma. We got trauma everywhere in our community. The trauma, I think, gets minimized. Like if you're thinking about just what happens in the streets and we're glorifying it, like this is a good thing, like, you know, or we think that being black means like you're supposed to have friends that get shot in the head and get 100 years in prison and all that. Like we normalize that trauma. So she said the trauma programs us. And the 3rd piece was a repetition, trauma, and symbolism. Man, you know, when you dissect, and I know you've done it more than me because you are you're as productive as Tupac, man, in terms of like putting out that music. So you're a student of it more so than me. But let me tell you, as an outsider, what I see, I feel like in a lot of songs, man, I can predict what symbols are going to be in the song. And it ain't just the music people are responding to, it's the imagery, the symbolism. Like if I really want to connect to a certain culture, a certain audience, I'm gonna show up dressed a certain way. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have maybe the chains, the tattoos. I'm gonna have the liquor bottle, smoking something. You don't even know what I'm smoking, but if I blow a puff of smoke, it creates an air of this false masculinity. You know what I mean? Because I'm smoking, drinking. On the course, you know, I got the big booty girl in the back of my Lamborghini. You know what I mean? In the mansion over here, right? It's the symbolism, these symbols, right? And so it's like with hip hop, what I like about your music, and I'm gonna let you kind of address that, man, is I think you understand that power of those symbols. You understand just that power of the repetition. You know, like when you did songs like I remember the song. It's funny, man, because you're a financial expert and you've made a lot of money on your own and stuff like that. But you had that one song I really like called "I Hate Money," and it's like it's weird. Like, why would somebody who has made so much money and does well with money say "I hate money"? But you were explaining just the power of money in terms of how it can ruin your life as well as make it better. But then also you had, you know, Sally Maybach and what was it? Another one of my favorites was the
No,
where you were driving the. Give me a second.
no,
The condo Accord. Tell me what it was called.
no car note.
No car note. Yeah, I ain't got no car note. Yeah, and it's like, to me, man, like I think you really mastered that. Like to me, that made you a better teacher because you were teaching through a pathway that was more likely to impact the subconscious mind. Cause you got to speak to that.
Yeah. So once I realized as a teacher that music was way more sticky in terms of being able to stick with, you know, my students than anything I was teaching them in the classroom. I said, well, now what I have to do is I have to teach through music. Instead of just saying I want to do music that sounds good, I'm like, okay, embrace the fact that the repetition, that the that the sonics that come along with music, that the subconscious, you know, is something to where music will get stuck in your head. I said I have to embrace that and incorporate that into my music. So I've been really focused my whole career on wanting to still have the heart of a teacher, but just have the platform of a rapper. So there's a lot of things that I have to do, you know, being a rapper that honestly, I'm just like, you know what? I'm kind of like how Marshawn Lynch said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. You know, like for me, like being on social media and having to be so public about your life and every step of, you know, what you're doing all day and all this type of stuff. That's not really my style as David, the man. But D1, the artist, knows and understands that, man, no matter what job, because I think I have the best job in the world, but no matter what job you have, there's going to be aspects of it that aren't your favorite aspects. But ultimately, when you say, well, what's the reward that I get for doing these few things that may not be that comfortable to me? Is the reward worth it? And the reward of somebody's soul getting saved, or someone getting closer to God, or someone their marriage being saved because of my music, or the potential being unlocked inside of a person to where they love themselves and therefore they can love the world around them because of my music, that reward, you know, outweighs anything I go through each and every time. So so at this stage, I'm fully committed to the fact that, like, yeah, I'm really still a teacher at heart, but I just have the platform and the appearance, you know, of a rapper. And that's actually one of my superpowers. Is I realized, like, God really created me to just be a very likable dude, you know, like so I've been in prisons speaking, you know, to the brothers that's doing life and that's there for 1 and 2 and 3 murder charges and, you know, everything under the sun. And I realized I could be the same person in front of those brothers that I am when I'm sitting on Instagram live with Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I could be the same person when I go to church, and I could be this, like, realizing that, like, wow, I can be the same person in any of these environments, and it's accepted, not just accepted, but it's embraced, and people feel like, D, you have something to offer us that we want. I realize that's just me surrendering the God in me, you know, to saying, like, I want to allow myself to be a vessel and be used. So you know, the thing that Jesus did when he walked the earth was he made sure that he was around people that challenged him, you know, and that, like, pulled him out of his comfort zone, but that he was also around people who, you know, kept him strong and who could walk with him and be there for everything that he was called to do. So for me, that's what this is about. It's like, you know, my community, you know, when I think about people like yourself, the community aspect is great because when we join forces, you know, we're able to make people kind of scratch their heads and be like, how are y'all so tight? Like, we almost don't even get it. Like, I don't get the connection. But the truth is, at the core, we just have a desire to teach our people to be greater, you know, to be greater and be better. And that's unfortunately what I think hip hop isn't focused on anymore. I would argue that there's 3 types of artists. There's the artists who view themselves as teachers, so they get into the game And from day one, they realized that music is simply a medium to communicate a message through, and they seek to teach their audience through their music. That's one type of artist. You got another type of artist that's like, man, this whole industry is all one big hustle for me. This is all about financial gain by any means necessary. I simply look at music as a platform for me to feed my family. I don't care what message I put out there. I don't care if I got to prostitute myself, if I got to sell my people out. If I can make money from this industry, this is my hustle. Music is my hustle. You got those type of artists. And then you got the artists that I think most of the industry consists of, to where these artists have a conscience. Like, they have a family, they have sons and daughters. Oftentimes they have loved ones that they say, like, you know what, I see the humanity around me, and I genuinely just want to see my loved ones happy, and I don't want to walk around paranoid that I'm gonna get killed every day or having ops and all this type of stuff. But they struggle to have the boldness that it takes to say, I'm gonna explicitly go against what the culture may be pushing me to do. And these artists, they kind of lukewarm, like they're not hot or cold all the time. They're more lukewarm. And I think that those are the three types of artists, with that third classification being the primary type of artist that exists. And I feel like, yo, if you're a person that's lukewarm, then I can relate to that, because I know that you have parts of you that look at what I do, and you're like, D, I got some of that in me too, bro. We relate on a lot of levels. I just don't have the boldness to be that all the time. And so for me, I'm just like, well, number one, I want to make you realize that we aren't that different. You know what I mean? So don't feel like you gotta view me on this pedestal that's like, D, I could never be like you. It's like, you actually could, man. You got to make a decision to prioritize what's most important to you. And when you get people to understand purpose, and you get people to understand the temporary nature of life and why we were put here, then it's a lot easier, I'd say, to reach people. So, man, my prayer, my goal is that these artists, really remain open to being able to change, and so that they don't think, man, I came in the game in my first album, I was killing, I was drug dealing, I was sleeping with your baby mama on there, I was doing that. I pray that these artists don't think that even if they started out one way, that it's too late for them to change. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what I think, man? I think too, what you have that always impressed me is not just intelligence and courage, but a lot of that's also rooted just in knowledge of self.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of confidence can come from just knowing who you are, so that when you're in a space where people want you to be something different, you can say, no, that's not me. Like, but there are people who haven't found themselves. You're 18, you're just trying to get ahead. You want to go left, but everybody's telling you, nah, if you want to be successful, you got to go right. So you go right, because you're like, well, I'm too nervous. I don't want to deviate. It takes courage to deviate. That's where leadership is so important. And really, really understanding what do you believe in? What do you stand on? I liked, there was a song, it was really good. T.I. did it, and somebody else was on. I forgot who else was on it, but it was the chorus is like, I stand on that. I think you might know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a great song. E40, I think, might have been in it. Maybe it wasn't E40. I gotta remember. But anyway, I think in general, I respect a man or a woman if you just stand on something. Like, what do you stand for? What can I expect from you?
Yeah.
If you get wishy-washy, where one minute I'm gonna get this, next minute I'm gonna get that, and you going along with whatever's popular and trendy, it makes you look kind of silly. I don't think people respect that. I think you look wishy-washy. I'd rather talk to somebody who I disagree with, who's consistent, than somebody who is, I might agree with, but they all over the place. Because I think it's really important for us as Black people to just understand how critical that is, because sometimes you get to a point where the stuff you're doing just ain't popular. I run into all the time where I'm saying something where a lot of people are like, I don't like this, or what are you doing? And I'm like, no, that's just what I think. That's what I see. And you're not going to get me to see something different just because you see something different. I can respect that. But this is what I see. I'm calling it for what it is, And so I think within hip hop, one of the challenges with music, with the music industry, is a lot of it circles back to economic domination and white supremacy. And the reason I say that is because for a lot of us as black folks, we come up with, a lot of us come up with no money. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. When they pulling up some of these rappers, man, you can't blame them for doing whatever they got to do to eat, because some of them wasn't eating a year ago. You know what I mean? So how am I to tell somebody who wasn't eating that, well, the way you eating is wrong and you hurting all these people? They're 19 years old. They're like, man, get up out of here with that, right? And so a lot of it's economic domination. And then number two, it stems to white supremacy, because one of the ways that you dominate an oppressed group of people is you control them economically. That to me is economic warfare. You control. The United States does it all over the world. They go to other countries and they say, well, we'll give you money, but you got to believe what we believe. You know what I mean? We want you to put the gay flag on your Capitol building, and that's, because that's what we believe in, and then we'll give you money. Or we need you to go and adopt these ideas that we believe, because we know you're broke. So ultimately, this whole idea, which you and I agree on, we align on this, of just empowering our people and our community, right? With the businesses, with the wealth, with the property, with the ownership and all that, that allows you to compete on a more even playing field. The number one reason that I have no concern about ever being pressured to sell out is because I don't need their money.
There you go.
You know what I mean? There's nothing. They can offer me a show on CNN to replace Don Lemon and $10 million a year, and I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. But if I'm hungry and I don't know, and also let's say I'm hungry and I don't know who I am, I'm really trying to fit in because I feel like being next, that his ice is colder and all that, right? Then I might be like, well, it is CNN and they are paying a lot of money and I gotta go eat, right? So I think that for black people, the way we make ourselves stronger is we train each other in a way where we just help each other eat good, and it goes back to what you were saying about supporting the artists that we believe in, or giving them avenues and opportunities to make money without having to sell out. You know what I mean? It's like the same reason. Why would a teenage girl decide to become a prostitute? Most women don't enjoy that job, but thousands of them do it. Well, why do they do it? A lot of times they do it because they ain't got no support, right? Maybe they don't have a lot of self-esteem. Maybe they have some sort of addiction where the pimp is also the drug pusher who's controlling them with the drug, where in our case, money becomes a drug, right? Or maybe clout becomes a drug, right? And then most importantly, you don't know who they are. They don't know who they are, right? Because a woman who knows who she is going to be like, nah, I'm struggling for money, but that's not how I'm going to make my money. But a woman who doesn't might be like, well, my girlfriend said it's okay for me to get on the pole, so I'm going to go get on the pole because, whatever, right? So I think in general, the same way you talk about, like when I'm raising my daughters to make them strong and give them principles and make sure that they're financially secure so they don't become exploited, by some of these crazy men out here. I think the same thing is true for black people. It all comes down to power, pimping, economic domination. We got to stop letting our people get pimped. I'll let you get the last word, man. I could talk to you all day, man. You know that.
Man, of course. Now, this is a great conversation, and for everybody that's enjoying it, I think we're gonna start doing this on a weekly basis. Just kind of state of the culture, as you say, and kind of doing a check-in. So y'all make sure y'all tune back in when we go back live, probably in about a week, and share this with people. And even y'all, next time, maybe y'all can send in questions in the question box, and we can see. Because if y'all don't interrupt us, me and Boyce will talk all day, and we will not stop because we got a lot to say. So I'll say this: when we talk about how to deter, crime inside of our community and get brothers to stop wanting to kill each other, the best form of gun control is a job. So I want people to know that, like, that's the best form of gun control, man. When you have a job, when you got income coming in, like you literally just reprioritize your whole life to where you're not desperation and helplessness anymore. So the best form of gun control is a job. So we have to think about how to economically empower our community and ourselves, because there's a level of freedom that we can exist with, and we can go about our skills and using our crafts with, that is free from I need to make a buck off of this. It becomes I need to make change. I need to make impact in the world. And then we start to see that those dollars feel different when it's like I'm making money by empowering, my community, by using my craft. That money hits different. Purpose-driven money hits different than just pimped out, prostituted money that you just like, I'm just use me, and just, okay, pay me whatever you want, master, at the end of the day. That money hits different than like, wow, I was able to do it this way. And, you know, we can't have too much pride to, we all you know, Dr. Boyce was a college professor before everything that y'all see with his media, you know, his media empire that he's created. I was a middle school teacher before I became D1 and being able to just full-time be an entrepreneur for over a decade now. And we have to make sure that we understand that the path to economic freedom, you know, may involve having to learn a trade or having to get a job and be smart with our money. And we have to prioritize saying, yo, I want to have some collateral. I want to have dope credit before I have a new car. You know what I'm saying? I want to have, yeah, I want to have some fire skills and own some stock before I own some you know, some Louis, Fendi, Gucci. Like, we gotta reprioritize those things. And it sounds real easy when you hear us saying it, but that's because we, like people like Dr. Boyce and I, we're creating a subculture, you know, to where we don't even give you like props and kudos for showing up and being like, hey, I blew all my rent money in the strip club last night. That's not gangster over here. That's not fire. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't feel that, you know, and that's why it's a blessing to have a platform, have people want to tune into what we have to say. So I just close out by saying that thank you to, you know, to all of you who have a desire for more. That's all. We just want more of that knowledge, of that freedom that we get a taste of when we can truly you know, feel good about the money we're making and the moves that we're making, you know, intelligent boss moves, like my man say, you know.
There you go. Well, well, I want everybody, if you haven't done it yet, if you could go please follow D. Follow D, support him. You know, the brother puts out lots of great music. He's super smart, as you can tell. And so all my friends, I want all my friends to be your friends. So anybody who's inspired by this conversation, if you could go ahead and consciously follow him and consciously do something to support, whatever that looks like for you, we'd appreciate that. Also, D and my wife, Dr. Alicia, are hosting a speed dating event in Atlanta, July 22nd at the Black House, the Legacy Center, at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you are single and you're looking to meet some people, then you can go to boyceandalicia.com. That's boyceandalicia.com, and the link to register for speed dating is up there. You got to register, let them know who you are and that you're coming so they can put you in the proper place. So if that's of interest to you, then reach out and do that, because we're trying to also help some of y'all that are getting tired of dating crazy people and weirdos and and people who are just not on the same frequency as you. How about that? So we did it last year at the All Black National Convention. Speed dating was a huge success. One person actually mentioned to us recently she's getting married, the guy she met last year, speed dating. So we know it's working. So we're going to consciously start doing that to match you up so you can find the right partners in life, the right partners in business, and just, you know, friendships with good quality people. Because at the end of the day, man, we're going to win. You know, I think that, you know, like you're a one-man army, but you ain't got to be one man. You know what I mean? Like, but you are a one-man army. And what I do believe, man, is that I just really think that one of you is 100 of them, whatever the thems are. You know what I mean? Like because you have that you're just mission driven. You have clarity. You know exactly where you're going. You're not doing all this. You're like, I'm going right there. So I personally think what's going to occur is that when you see all these black people out here building wealth, rebuilding strong families, you know what I mean, fighting for the community, you know, standing on what's right, when those individuals, and then the next generation, our children are going to be, they're going to be the CEOs, they're going to be the bosses, they're going to be the ones that are doing the hiring and making the moves culturally. And so that is going to, I believe, get everyone else that may not understand it in this generation, their kids are going to get it, you know, because people tend to want to align with the team that's winning. You know what I mean? And I look at your life and you're winning. You know what I mean? I went to Julian Gordon's event and all the black people in that room were winning. I got a ride over there, man. I ran into a brother on the street that recognized me, and I was waiting on an Uber, and we're talking at the light, and I said, hey man, can you give me a ride? You know, so he gave me a ride. I'm just talking to this random brother. He's like, yeah, doc, you know, I quit my job because of you. I'm like, wow, how did that go? And he's telling me about it. Do you know this brother had acquired over $1 million in his stock portfolio? Yeah, married to his wife 33 years, had $1 million in stock, was about to buy multifamily property, and was passing all this down to his daughter. This is a random guy driving a pickup truck, man. You know, so you got black people out here that are just getting it done. So you can't tell us we're gonna lose, man. We're too extraordinary. You know how black folks are. Like when we put our mind to anything, we become the best at it. You know, we take it to we become Serena Williams, we become Tiger Woods, we become, you know, like you know what I mean? Like we just become the best. So I'm not worried about we become Gabby Douglas and all that, you know. So I personally think, man, that we should not let anything that's distracting us make us feel like we're destined to lose. This ain't nothing but a snapshot in time. And I'm not really looking at what we're doing right now. I'm thinking about what our kids are going to be doing when they build off of what we got and what we're going to leave them, you know, trillions in inheritance. And they're going to take it to the next level because they're going to be somebody 30 years from now, 40 years from now, maybe watching this video the same way you and I might look back to Malcolm X or Marcus Garvey for inspiration, right? So we got to keep going. Everybody, don't give up because we will win. I know it. God has ordained that it's going to happen. So thanks, brother. It's great to talk to you, man.
My brother, much love to you, man. I'll be talking to you again soon, brother. Always a pleasure. Love you too, man.
All right, homeboy. I'll see you when I get to Atlanta. I'm headed down this week.
All right.
All right, peace. See y'all later.